Hey guys, this is Brisen here, and I'm going to be profiling another deck of my fiance. This is her most favorite deck of all time. It's her Ghostrick deck that she worked forever on making, that we actually built a second time because we thought we lost the or we did lose first one for a little while. But I'll let her get into it because I have no idea what she runs or why she runs in here, what she does, so she'll have to explain it. But here you go.
Okay, so fun fact about this one. I started building this deck because Brisen got a Ghostrick Jack Frost and a pack in an Easter basket, and I just thought it was really cute, and I'm like super into the Halloween stuff, so we decided we had to build it, and I moved out of state, and I told a bunch of the people that I kind of became friends with out of state, and they just gave me all the extra stuff, so I think at some point I had like 112 Nekasume, which I just think is super cool because I have an entire collection of at least doubles of every one of these cards. And I had friends from here and from out of state giving me stuff. And I've also had like shops that like will specifically look for the Ghostrick stuff for me when I walk in because that's what they knew I was building. And when we lost this deck, I was really upset. And fun fact, we found it at a Subway like 6 months later. Like the managers just walked up and handed us a deck box. Like, here, I know you play this game. Is this yours? And it was really funny. But this is actually my only 60 card deck. And I've had people either giving me cards or sleeves and stuff for this deck for like 3 years now. And it is almost pure Ghostrick. Spell trap monster wise, it is almost pure. Except for I think like 7 cards in total. So I've got the Fairy Tale Luna, which has gotten decently big right now, but that's only because of Fairy Tale Snow, which I put in my deck before other people were putting it in their decks because it's adorable and it has a tail.
How angry are you about this?
No, I am not that angry about this. Okay, and then I've got one Stein because he's my beat stick, and then all of the Ghostricks can't be normal summoned unless there's a Ghostrick on field, so they all have to be set first, which is kind of cool because like nobody ever knows exactly what the stuff is, and some of the stuff, if you destroy it when it's flipped face up, it just like it goes nah, and some of it gets other effects when it flips face up, which is just really cool even if you don't destroy it. But so Stein is when it inflicts battle damage, so if it actually goes through, he gets to search for a Ghostrick spell or trap. And then he can only be used once per turn, which is kind of a typical thing for the Ghostricks. One doll, which is one of the level 2s, and she can change from face down to face up defense position once per turn. And then they can all flip themselves back face down at the end of the turn, which is also the really cool thing about them, because they can just automatically reset themselves without outside help. But he can change as many cards to face down defense position as possible. So that's on your side of the field or the opponent's side of the field. And then she can special summon up to the level of however many cards she flipped face down. So like if you flip down 3 cards in total, then she can special summon up to a level 3 in face down defense position. And then Nekasume, which he actually really hates. When a level 4 or higher monster is normal or special summoned, I can change that monster to face down defense position. There must be another Ghostrick on the monster.
God, that card really does nothing.
For this to activate. Yeah, but it's so cool with Yeti. It's adorable with Yeti. I love her. Plus, she's a cat. And then I've got 2 Mummy, which is the other beat stick. And I can normal summon 1 Ghostrick in addition to the normal summon. So this helps get board presence, which is really nice because sometimes the Ghostricks get destroyed really, really fast because they're really, really tiny. And then
emphasis on tiny.
So small. And then I've got 2 of the skeleton, so he can banish face down as many cards from your deck as there are Ghostricks on the field. So like he's one of the ones that you would want to flip up last. So him, Jiangshi, and Ghoul, you always want to flip up last because he counts all of the Ghostricks that are face up, and then Wolf you always want to flip up first because he counts all the ones that are face down, and he's funny and he's really trolly. But I've got 2 of the Yeti because he's also one of the beat stick ones, and then once per turn I can change him to face down defense position, and when he's flipped up he can target 1 Ghostrick monster on the field, and that turn it cannot be destroyed by battle. So he's just nice for like some of the smaller ones that you want to make sure survive until the end of the turn. And then I've got Witch. So she can target one face-up monster your opponent controls and change it to face-down defense position. And I play a deck that's more like focused around night and actually flipping the stuff down. So like her and Doll and then Yukiona. So if you destroy her, then you
Nasty card.
Yeah. The monster that destroyed this face-down gets flipped to face-down defense position. And if you... The monster that destroyed this card in face-down defense position, you cannot change its battle position. So, like, if this card gets destroyed, the card that destroyed it is face down, just like for the rest of forever until you get rid of it. So it's kind of like you just lost a spot.
So it's like Floodgate Trap Hole or like Quaking.
And then the two Werewolf, are really funny to me because this one in Skeleton, it's just kind of like tiny jabs. Like, you don't even really expect it, but, like, all of a sudden you have a wolf.
It adds up so much.
So, every time...
500 turns into 1,000, turns into 2,000, turns into my life.
Every set card, and that includes the spell and traps on both sides of the fields, you lose 100 for each one. So, like, if I have a full board, then I can get them to lose, like, 5 for the back row, and then at least another 4 for the monsters, and that's even if they don't have anything. So that's just really cool, because it's like automatic 900 damage, and you didn't even attack yet. That's just effect.
Sucks when you play a set 5 pass deck against it.
And then I've got all the hand traps, which are really cool. So Spectre is when a Ghostrick monster is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, or by battle with their attacking monster, and sent to the graveyard. You can special summon this card from your hand in face down defense position, and draw a card. So it gets you another one in hand if anything's destroyed, which the Ghostricks obviously are just because they're small.
Fun fact, if a Jiangshi gets attacked over and gets destroyed, you can search the Spectre and then special summon with its effect as soon as the Jiangshi dies and draw a card.
And then I've got the 3 Jack Frost, which is the reason I got into the deck. So they're kind of really special.
She's got the limited edition, hard to find ones that are expensive.
I've got both sets of the limited edition ones. So I have 2 Ghostrick decks. And one of them is getting turned into a special Halloween deck, and I'm so hyped for it. But both of them have the limited edition ones, because I was insistent that if I had to rebuild it, it had to be better. But so, the Jack Frost one is when an opponent's monster declares an attack, I can change the opponent's monster to face down defense position. And if I do, I can special summon this card.
It doesn't target either.
So that's just really cool.
Look at that rarity.
Because...
Limited edition.
The way that the deck works around night and flipping the stuff face down, I want as much of that as face down as I can by losing as little as I can. And then Mary, which was one of my favorite cards in here just because I love the art on it, and I love that they still put her in the mirror because she's like, you know, Bloody Mary but cuter. Anytime I take damage, I can discard this and special summon one Ghostrick monster from deck and face down defense position. So... She never really sees any field action, but she gets a lot more stuff out here, and I just think it's really cool. And then I've got 3 Lantern.
Expensive again.
Which is one of the most expensive Ghostrick ones, which I think is really funny. But that's because anytime anyone says they run a Ghostrick engine, they're lying. They run the hand traps, and that's not really Ghostricks. It's cheating. It doesn't count. And I'm so hype about this, it's not even funny. But once per turn... and be flipped face up, and when the opponent's monster declares an attack, or when a Ghostrick monster you control is targeted for an attack, you can just negate the attack, which is so funny when you have like 3 in hand, and then they keep trying to attack like a Jiangshi that you really want out on field, because you're just like, nah, never mind, oh, never mind again, nope, sorry.
Or a werewolf.
It's just really funny to see how angry people get about all of it. Jiangshi, which... we keep talking about it, or Jiangshi, depending on who you ask, but I don't like that way.
I don't either. Sounds gross.
Every time she's flipped face up, you can get out 1 card that's level is the equivalent of how many Ghostricks you have flipped face up. So, like, if you only have Jiangshi, you can get out any level 1, and so on and so forth. But I really like her face.
I like your face.
And then Ghoul, which is the trolliest, most annoying one in here, because only he can attack, but he gets the combined... He can target any one Ghostrick to get the combined attack of all the Ghostricks that you have on the field.
If you've ever seen a 5,000 attack level 3.
So,
right there.
But what's even funnier is you can do it with things like Spectre, too. So,
Oh, God.
like, you can do it with the stuff that you can't keep doing it with instead of ghoul, so you don't have to destroy ghoul if they negate the attack. Like, only one can attack, and it doesn't even have to be ghoul.
And then I think you can flip them all face down again, too,
Yeah.
so if they mirror force, it's only the one.
Yeah. Which is just super awesome for me. And then, moving on to the spells and traps. I actually really hate the field spells in this deck. I mean, I love the art because I love this deck, but the field spells slowly kill you. Because it's like,
you have to attack them
oh, I'm helping, but no, I'm kidding. So, Parade is your opponent takes no damage, and when he declares a direct attack, you can add 1 Ghostrick, but you take full damage, and you cannot do damage.
So you can't do anything, but you get cards. So you're going to want to search a field spell off it at least the first time they attack, so you have something to get rid of that Parade.
And then,
else you die.
For the Mansion, all the opponent's monsters that attack get flipped to face down defense position after effect damage, and battle damage inflicted by monsters other than Ghostricks is halved. So this one's one of the better ones because it works really well with like the Night Lockdown decks because you want all their stuff flipped face down. The problem for me with mine is I already run so much other stuff that does that, so this kind of just becomes irrelevant, and you still take the attack, but you only take half the attack.
I think Mansion House. I think Museum's the one that flips.
Oh, yeah, I was right. No.
You're right the first time, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. You might be right.
No, I lied. This is the one that if everything is face down,
It only halves.
then it halves the stuff. But so, yeah. So, Mansion is the one that halves their attack, and then Museum flips everything down if they attack. But Mansion, you want to try to keep some stuff up, so like you don't want to try to use the effect of Doll on this. You'd rather use something like Witch, because you want to try to keep at least 1 card face up, so even if they attack, they can only attack at that one, so you want to keep something that's like really high attack up. And then we're getting into a lot of the one-of techie cards that I've got, and then all of the traps are after that. So I've got the Yami, which increases the attack and defense of all Fiend and Spellcaster type monsters by 200.
Just half the deck.
And it also decreases the attack of all Fairy type monsters, which doesn't really affect this deck very much. But it helps with all the Fiends and everything in here, because there's a lot of Fiends and a lot of Spellcasters. And then Beginning of the End is if there's 7 or more dark cards in the graveyard, you can remove from play 5 and draw 3 cards. Which doesn't really affect this deck because especially running it at a 60, you can have a lot in the graveyard and still have a lot more to go.
And they can get destroyed pretty fast, so.
You've got Murmur of the Forest, so you can target 1 face-up monster the opponent controls and change it to face-down defense position, and you can return all field spell cards to the hand, which is the real reason I drew this, because sometimes you really need that field spell for like 1 turn, but if you keep it out for like 3, it's going to kill you. MST.
That pretty MST.
Final Countdown.
Oh yeah, stall for 20 turns and win.
I've got Ghostrick Vanish, so if you reveal 1 Ghostrick, this turn Ghostrick cards you control in face-down defense position monsters cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects.
No Dark Hole Regeki for you.
And then I've got Ghostrick Go Round. So this one's got 2 effects. Once per turn during the battle phase, you can activate 1 of them. You can target Ghostrick monsters and change them to face-down defense position, and if you do, change 1 face-down defense position monster your opponent controls to face-up attack, and then essentially the exact opposite. So if you target a face-up attack position, you just put 1 of theirs into face-down defense position. 2 break, so if 1 card and if 1 Ghostrick and exactly 1 Ghostrick are destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target 2 Ghostrick monsters in your graveyard with different names from that destroyed monster and special summon them in face-down defense position. So this one's nice because a lot of the times you will only have the 1 Ghostrick that's destroyed, so you can get out 2 other ones off of that, which sometimes is really nice, because if they destroy something like, you know, a ghoul, there's a lot of other level 3s that you can get out, or pretty much anything else that you can get out that'll help.
I remember how that card wasn't real, and then it actually came out. Like, this was like a fan art.
It's super cute, and it looks weirdly cute compared to the actual monsters, but most of the spells and traps are like that. And then we've got Ghostrick Scare, so you can target any number of face-down defense position monsters, and then any of them that are Ghostricks, you can target that many of your opponents and flip them the opposite
It
direction.
actually doesn't target. You choose which ones you want to flip, but it doesn't target your opponents.
I didn't say to target the opponents.
Oh no, I was just adding it in because some people don't know that. Like it doesn't target, so you select which monsters, but it gets around.
And then 3-night, which is the entire reason that this deck is built the way it is instead of like a beat stick deck, because I hate the beat stick decks. But while a Ghostrick monster is on the field, your opponent cannot flip summon. When this card is in your possession, is destroyed by your opponent's card and sent to the graveyard, your opponent cannot declare attacks for the rest of this turn. So I run 3 of these because that's the whole reason the deck is the way it is.
Oh,
as soon as you get stuff flipped down, they pretty much can't flip it back up. And the rest of the stuff in here is so techy.
And they cry.
That it makes it really hard to get anything else out that would destroy this, because honestly, MST is pretty much your only option. And most people aren't running a whole lot of those anymore.
Yep.
So I've got 2 of the Quaking Mirror Force. Which always confuses people when I pull them out because they don't expect me to have cards like that in a deck like this.
But it keeps it all face really down so you can use your Ghostrick stuff.
And then I've got the Full Force Virus. So if I contribute a dark monster with 2,000 or more defense and check the opponent's hand, all the monsters they control and all cards they draw until the end of their 3rd turn after this card's activation, and destroy all monsters with 1,500 or less defense.
And I'm pretty sure that card works with cards in your extra deck. Because I know the Ghostricks are small, but you have some high defense.
This will work with the extra deck cards in Yeti.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much the only one in the actual deck that works with it. 7 Tools of the Bandit.
Look at
which
that
people don't really use anymore. But I love the secret in this because it's not actually the background. It's just
actually helped her win some games too, so... that card's a tool.
Crush Card Virus, which is also
run both of them.
pretty.
It's pretty.
I've got the Dark Mirror Force.
Oh my god, she almost... Oh, I forget what the combo was.
I was at a tournament, and I had the Quaking and the Dark Mirror Force, and I had them both set, and they were so ready, and I was so ready to get this dude, but I already had so many other answers, and I thought, you know what, maybe I'll save it, but then I beat him that turn before I had the chance, and I was really mad, because I've never gotten a chance like that since then, so... But then I've got a Fiendish Chain, and then I've got the Pinpoint Guard, so when an opponent's monster declares an attack, I can target 1 level 4 or lower in my graveyard, and special summon it in defense position, and it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects this turn.
Look at that.
So it's kind of just like a stall, and it helps me get stuff back.
I think that's a secret, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a secret.
Most of the ones that I have in here are either secrets or the limited.
I think they're first editions, too.
Yes. Almost everything except for 2 cards in this deck is first edition.
They didn't make
the
dolls.
Doll and the Witch. They're not first edition. And I can't find them. I've tried. We've been to 3 shops.
Yeah, I can't.
So, I've got Angel, which, super cute story. Before it actually came out in the US for Christmas, the year it came out, Brian got it for me in the Japanese writing, which I just thought was super cute because that was one of like the big gifts I got that year, because I was super excited because I had been playing this deck for like a year and a half at that point, and I was just really excited even though they changed the name to something stupid here.
Yeah, because
way cuter in Japanese.
What was it? It was
Dork Lord Angel.
Yeah, there you go.
And now they changed it to Angel of Mischief, which doesn't make sense with any of the other ones. So Cute Boss, which... Okay,
Nasty.
So with Ghostrick Angel, you'd think you wouldn't be able to get into her because she's a 4 and it's the XYZs. But she actually can overlay over the other Ghostrick XYZs, and you can add more stuff to her. So even if you detach stuff, you can add it back. And it's after there's 10 materials. It's like an automatic win condition, which does never really happen with Ghostricks. But it's also completely irrelevant with Lynx.
And she's got the 2,000 defense for full force, or 25.
So Cute Boss is 2 level 2s, and while I control another Ghostrick, or the opponent cannot target this card for attacks, once per turn I can detach 1 XY0 material and target 1 face-up monster on the field with attack less than or equal to the combined attack of all the Ghostrick monsters, and it pretty much, it destroys it, and then that monster zone just can't be used. So this one I always think would be super funny if you get out like a Yuki-Onna with it, because then you kind of just like destroy 2 of their spots.
That's pretty awesome.
And then I've got the Doulahan. So he is, he gains 200 attack for each Ghostrick I control. And then you can detach 1 XYZ material and target 1 face-up monster and have its attack until the end phase. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one of their Ghostrick card in your graveyard and add that target to hand.
And that works if you overlay.
So he's really nice to have under Angel.
There you go.
Because then you can, like, detach him and you still get his other effect from the graveyard, but you also get the Angel effect to search.
2 cards to hand.
Yeah, so it's just super cool.
And you can start adding back, I think, Angels or dual hands. Like, eventually, like, you can start cycling your...
Because it doesn't... You have to try to get the stuff back into your hand so you don't, like, run out of it. Because Ghostrick Angel is kind of what you're aiming to get when you get this stuff. Because Alucard, you can target one face-down defense position and destroy it. And then he's the one that, once per turn, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one other Ghostrick in your graveyard and add that target back to hand. So him and Doulahan are both nice.
All those Ultras.
But Doulahan's a lot easier to get out with the way that I run it because I don't run as many of the level 3s. And then I've got the Slacker Magician, the Downard Magician, the Djinn Buster, which...
Hertex.
Yeah. During either player's turn, when the effect of an opponent's monster is activated, you can detach 2 XYZ materials from this card and negate the activation, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to the opponent, which is kind of nice because it's kind of easy to get level 2s out with this deck because there's so many of them. And then King Overfiend is 3 level 3 dark monsters. And once per turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card and target one face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses 1,000 attack and defense. While this card has number 65 Djinn Buster, it's essentially like this whole other thing with the Djinns that I don't run, but it's also a dark one that came out in the same pack as the Ghostricks, so it still technically works with dark stuff, even if it's not supposed to.
Yeah. They work, though.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that is her 60-card Ghostrick deck profile, her most prized possession, or at least prized deck. Anything you'd like to add for this awesome deck profile?
I legitimately almost fought a kid because he tried to steal my Nekasumes when I lived out of state. He's like, oh, can I have one? And then he took like 4 of them, and I thought I was going to punch him in the face.
I don't blame you.
But turns out, he just wanted some of them, and then I still think the Subway story is really funny.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was good that we found it, because you got the Alucards and all that stuff, and they were, like, still above, like, $10. Like, that deck was, like...
Yeah, I was so insistent that we needed to rebuild the deck.
We bought it again.
And rebought all of it.
Even the Quakings.
Yeah.
Everything.
I think we spent another, like, 45-ish, and then we found it, and I kind of felt like a tool. But now I have 2 of them, and I have the other Halloween deck that I'm building, and I'm really excited for it.
Hopefully we'll have that one up for you guys soon.
So, yeah.
Alright, guys. Well, peace.